Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Bill Whittle's Hot Mic, and we're here with our guest Peter Van Voorhis, who's been doing an awful lot of really terrific work exposing not just the suppression and the intimidation, but the actual outright violence on American campuses directed towards conservatives. Peter, can you give us a thumbnail description of the psychology of these people? Because when you see people having this kind of a visceral, violent, emotional reaction, this kind of there's going to be a thin gay man speaking at our campus who doesn't agree with us on things, or there's going to be a relatively small young Jewish fellow who's going to be speaking about something. There's going to be a woman who probably weighs 90 pounds soaking wet going to come and speak about things we don't agree with. They react as if they are under physical assault. They're showing the signs of a physical fight or flight reflex to ideas. What is it about these people that is so unformed and so underdeveloped that they see any kind of an opinion different than theirs as a physical threat to their survival?
Well, Bill, it's really a culture of victimhood on these college campuses. And the professors and the administrators, they're totally promoting it for the students. These students feel that if any of their ideas are challenged, if any of their pre-existing notions about the world are challenged by a speaker, by another student, by a professor, that they are then victimized. It is then personal violence against them. Because to them, as Ben Shapiro said in the clip we played earlier, to them, words are violence. That's the current state of affairs.
Yeah, they're violent because they've been so coddled and so protected as children. And as Adam Carolla said, if you play soccer and you're never allowed to lose, or just the fact we're playing soccer, if you play baseball, let's say, and you're not allowed to lose a game, we're not going to keep score. Because if we keep score and a team loses, that's going to hurt the self-esteem of the team that loses. I was on a Little League baseball team in my first year there. We were 0-10. We didn't win a single game. My self-esteem came from the fact that when we did win a game, I felt good about it. But they've got this thing backwards, don't they? They think that we're going to give you self-esteem and then you're going to go out and succeed. But the definition of self-esteem is overcoming obstacles and overcoming hardship. That's what makes you feel good about yourself, not being given things all the time.
You're totally right at that, Bill. And I say that as someone who sucked at sports. I was probably the worst person on my t-ball team, and the fact that they just gave everyone and the fact that they just gave everyone a trophy at the end of the season. I mean, it was great. I liked it for 5 minutes at the pizza party, but what did that teach me? It didn't teach me that you need to practice harder. You need to be more competitive, and frankly, some things you're just not good at. I wasn't great at baseball. I'm better at other things, and ultimately, people in life need to understand that. And I think it's a broader cultural problem, like you were saying. People are raising their children to feel that, everything has to be equal. Boys and girls are the same. Everything has to be fair. But frankly, life's not fair. And I think the sooner you learn that, the happier people are. No wonder people are so upset at these colleges. They'll never be happy. Even if they had their socialist utopia paradise, they still wouldn't be happy because you can never make everything perfectly fair.
No, that's exactly right. Peter, we're almost out of time, but very quickly, I think I have an operational theory, and you live it. I just look at it from afar. You're in the middle of it. But it occurs to me that a generation like this that's never been allowed to compete, that's never been allowed to be unique. Everything is about sharing. Everything is about teamwork. There's no individuality. You're not allowed to stand out from the crowd. You can't be better than anybody else in anything. Forget just baseball or basketball or whatever the case may be. And a life where you're constantly given everything, and a life essentially, Peter, without purpose. That this kind of virtue signaling is all that they have. Their basic emotional need. It makes them unique. It makes them stand out from the crowd, gives them a sense of competition. Who can be the top victim? Here, my life is about something. I'm stopping Hitler from invading America, and all the rest of it. It is an infantile mindset, isn't it?
You're totally correct on that. I was reading a study, I believe it might have been published in the Wall Street Journal, but they were essentially saying that all these social justice warriors, as we like to call them, the activists, they say they're doing it for the collective, but ultimately they're doing it for their own selfish intentions because they have no purpose. They feel guilty that they have some American privilege above other people in the world. We can argue as to why that is, why America's done better in the world. I think you and I both know that. They might have a different feeling, but they feel guilty about that. And they need to do whatever it takes to make themselves feel not so guilty about it. So if they go there and tear down other people in the name of justice, ultimately they feel that that is helping people, but they're really just trying to help themselves. And at the end of the day, they're just hurting everyone.
That's exactly right. Peter, thank you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Van Voorhis is PeterVanVoorhis.com. And I say this without exaggeration. Peter is not just showing moral courage, he's showing actual physical courage by doing what he's doing out there. Thanks so much for joining us, Peter. I look forward to having you back again real soon.
Pleasure to be with you, Bill.
That's the world we live in now, folks. We live in a world where an entire generation has been so coddled for so long that the idea of an opinion is considered a physical assault on them. And this is the end result of the left. And the left always does this. The revolution always eats its own. That's a subject we'll come back to many times right here on the Hot Mic Show. I'm Bill Whittle for NRATV. We will see you tomorrow.